There's a way to map out the Detainer lock before you pick it that will greatly increase your chance of success. And there we go. It looks a lot like this. Let me show you how I do that. Hello and welcome back to Lock Lab 101. What we have here is a soldier circle top security lock. I don't believe it's a top security lock, but we're going to find out. So it is a Detainer lock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it, and then I'm going to show you how I mapped it out before I picked it, which increased my chance of success in getting it open and really reduced my picking time. It's a 60 millimeter, has a lot of info here. Well, I guess not much. I thought there was more. Okay, anti-rust, anti-prime, anti-sign. Okay, it has some anti-pick stuff, anti-sauce stuff, anti-prise stuff, and anti-drill stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this in a vise. So I've already mapped this out. I'm going to go ahead and pick it, and then once it's open, I'm going to show you how I created that map. So first things first, let's get this in a vise. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it with my Detainer tool here. So just to be fair, I've already scoped it, I've already mapped it, and this is my final. I have everything, and I'm going to go ahead and just knock it out. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it. So once I get it open, I'm gonna go through and explain how I got the map and how I got to where I'm at now. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with advancing all the discs, and I just put this this little tool in here. It's nothing but a small piece of metal, and I rotate them so that all the discs line up. That facilitates getting the pick in there and also giving me a starting point, like a reference point. Okay, I'm going to be putting clockwise rotation on it and then picking counterclockwise. And just to be fair, full disclosure, I've already mapped this. So what I'm doing is nothing more than following a map that I already have. So right now we're on disc 1. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm just following instructions that I've already written down in numbers. So I have a bunch of numbers written out per disc that I'm following. So on disc 1. And it's essentially using what I found. Okay, let's go to disc 3. What I found during the mapping process and the research and the measuring, and I'm going to show you that when I'm done here. I'm just going up along, finding the disc based off of what I found earlier. Now let's go to disc 4, and then just turning it a certain amount that I've already determined. It greatly reduces the, or let's go to disc 7, or sorry, disc 5. There's only 6 discs on here. The time it takes to pick a Detainer lock. And there we go. Okay, so that was pretty fast, and in no way is that represent reality of trying to pick a Detainer lock. If I just came in here and started picking, what you just saw is not reality. There's a lot of work that went in front of this in order to get that open like that. So let me go through that now. First off, so let me get my pick out of here. I think I have to close this in order to do that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that was a pretty fast open for Detainer, but let me show you how that happened. This is my initial map. Let me explain what all these mean. Actually, let me use this one here. This explains it a little bit better. Okay, so let me explain. This is how I got this. This is a cleaned up version. This was the initial one, and this is the cleaned up version. So first thing I would do is I'd come in here and I would count the discs. I would count them, and then I would come in here, and so this particular lock only has 6 discs. So I'd come in here, I'd go to 6, and everything after 6 I would I would just X out. So I know I'm dealing with just 6. And additionally, if you look in here, there's no spinner. So yes, this spins here as an anti-drill device, but there's no spinner like an abloy or well, yeah, an abloy. An abloy has a spinner up front for an anti-drill device. And so I know I have 6 discs, and then with the probe, I'd go in there and I'd rotate each disc. So you can see that disc there right now. Okay, but I can come in here and move it. See how I rotated that? I rotate it right like that. So I can go in with a probe, rotate each one, and then I'll take a caliper. I'll put it on the top of that first disc, right like that, and I'll just come down and then read it. Let's see, let's get a good reading. So on that disc 1, from the face of the lock here to that first disc, the front side of that first disc, I just measured 7.98. This is the front of the lock face here. No spinner, so I circle no. And then I'll come down here, and this represents the disc. Okay, so that's disc 1. And then I'll measure from the lock face, and I'll do that for every single disc. And the way I do that is I'll rotate. Okay, see how you can see 2 discs in there? So now I'll take this here, and I'll get on the second disc, measure it. I just got 10.05, and then, so that's for disc 2. And that's for the leading edge, the front face of disc 2, and that's from the lock face to the front of disc 2. And I'll do that for every disc, or I'm getting a good picture of from the lock face to the front of every disc. So the next thing I need to know is what disc to tension off of. Okay, this one ended up being disc 6, but how did I figure that out? I took this measurement of 7.95, so that's from the front face of disc number 1 to the lock face, 7.9, and I made a spacer for the front tensioning disc detainer pick. Okay, so that only the very tip is into the discs, and so I tension number 1, and then I go through each one, and that's when I started looking at where the gates and false gates are. Okay, this is the finished product here. This is my initial workup sheet. So I saw I didn't have any gates up here, and they were all lower down on the disc. So I didn't know that at the time. All these dots are where I suspected or felt a gate on a disc, and I didn't find these all at once. Working down through here, I did have a couple that had gates at the top of the disc, and I know a disc is round, and I'm just using this as a gauge, and that depended on how far I counterpicked that disc detainer pick. Initially, because you're tensioning off of disc 1, you don't know if disc 1 can be a tension disc or not, but I was relatively certain at that point either disc 4 or disc 6 could. I didn't find anything on 2 at that point. So then I knew disc 6 was a no turn. The gate was at the top of the disc, and I'm saying top of the disc, but that means no turn. Okay, so then what I needed to confirm was that if number 6 was the tension disc or number 1 was the tension disc. So I switched over to a number 6 tensioner, right like this. So what that did was, so with this, it allowed me to tension off a disc 6 and then interrogate with this pick here each of the other discs. Okay, so what needs to be set up with this disc? This needs to be on disc 6 right here, and disc 1 needs to be below this shoulder here. And I found that out by these measurements that we already got. So the top of this to the face of the lock needed to be 18.54 millimeters. And the face of the lock and disc 1 needed to be below the shoulder here. So my working range needed to be between that and that with the tension knob on disc 6. And I get that using a caliper and measuring all this stuff here. Okay, let's put this at 18.54. Okay, we're going to see that 18.54 should come just barely at the top of this tension knob, because it's from the face of the lock, which is represented right here on the bottom side of this white spacer, which is the face of the lock, to the top of disc 6, right there, 18.54. And that's the top of the disc, and then the disc will land right in the center of that. So with that, I know that I'm tensioning off of disc 6. So I go in there and I get tension, and then once again I came up to disc 1 right away, and I saw that disc 1 had all their gates and false gates were lower down on the disc. I didn't know it at the time, but I could have the tension off the disc 2 or disc 4 or disc 6. When you have multiple options like that, it's just easier to not tension in the center of the pack. So boom, this gets the tension. So I write tension down on there. And then these numbers here, the 3.3, 4, 5, 6, 2, and 7.6, are where each one of these discs are, center mass of the discs. So I'll come in here, and then I'll come down till I hit disc 1. That's disc 1 right there. And then I'll rotate it around to the face of it until it slips over the top of it. So I'm rotating it and pushing pressure that way. I find the disc, I'm hitting the top of the disc, and then I'll rotate it. So I'll hit it, and then I'll rotate until it slips through right there. See here, I'm hitting it. I rotate, and I find that gate, and then I just go up just a fraction, and now I know I'm on top of that disc right there. I hit it at 3, and then it goes in, and then I find the center of the disc at 3.3. So I do that 3.3. So these numbers represent where this indicator, that shoulder right there, falls on these lines here. Okay, and that's line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and I just break them up into tens. So I map out where every disc is. Okay, so that way I don't have to find them every time. And I'm not even trying to find gates yet. All I'm trying to do is find out where every disc is, the center of each disc. So these dots and these numbers, like right here, and these numbers here, I'll come into where I have the discs. I'll get it on 3, and then I'll capture it, and then I'll start rotating it around, and wherever I feel a gate. So if I pick up the opening of the disc, like right here, that's considered the top of this disc here. And I'll rotate it around. And if I feel a click, I'll note it. I'll come back, and I'll go to until the disc is fully rotated. And that fully rotated portion is down here. And then I'll bring it back up to the start position. So I know where the top of the disc is, right here, and I'll know where the bottom of the disc is, right here. And I'll rotate them, and every time I feel a gate, I'll mark a little dot. So earlier I had a dot there. Do it some more, and I had another dot. Do it some more, and I had another dot, or what I perceived was another dot. Okay, and then I'll put it back up in the start position, and I'll do it for every one. And then I just do each one of those. Okay, and I always put them back up to the starting position. So let me explain all of this in number 1. 3.3 is the center of the disc, so I come up here to 3.3. I'll rotate it down, and this click here is at 1.8. So that's what 1.8 looks like. And then I'll do that for each disc. And what I'm trying to find out is where the largest gate is and where it falls on my scale. And then I just keep doing that until I get a cleaner and cleaner and cleaner map. And then once I figure it out, I just highlight them, transfer it onto something like this. I'll put the lock name up here. And I'll keep that for this lock. Okay, and this will be extra soldier circle. Alright, so now I know that this map is for this lock. And that's the way I do it. And I make all my scribble on a sheet like this that I draw up, and then I put it on here, and then I'll keep these in a folder. Okay, so that's how I map out a disc detainer lock. And my goal is just to be as precise and surgical as possible when opening, well, any lock really. I try to gather as much information and gather the best strategy before I actually go in and, okay, I'm going to open the lock on this go round. Well, I hope you learned something. If you did, please consider watching my other videos, like and subscribe, and as always, thank you very much.